Hey everybody, welcome back to Move It Monday and a little more work with chairs. So today our focus is going to be on our core, and there is some leg work involved here as well, hip strengthening, and I just love when exercises pull it all together and we can multitask during our workouts. So the first two exercises are happening from a seated position on the chair, and then the next two are happening from down on the floor. So depending on your mobility, if you're able to get everywhere, then do them all. If sitting in the chair is really your only option, then don't worry about the core on the floor. All right, so I have bands and I have bands. So depending on what you have, you are looking for a resistance band, and I'm going to use this one only because it's easier. And the other one you would tie a knot in and just use at your ankles. So to start things off today, I'm going to have you bring both feet into the band, and I want you to have the bands resting kind of above your ankle bones. All right, we're going to move to sit further forward on the chair. We'll turn a little bit sideways, give you a better angle of what's happening here. So I just brought my kitchen chair into the studio, and you can do the same. So I have pointed my toes. I have the bands around my ankles. I'm going to grab the back of the chair and I'm going to lift up nice and long. You really want to elongate the spine, all right? So you want to pull way up, get the ribs up and out of your hips. So when we're sitting, if we're slouched down, I like to think of it as the ribs sitting in my hips. So I always want to make room for those core muscles to work. Hanging on to the chair, and I'm going to have you pick your feet up a couple inches above the floor. And we're going to pull open and come back, but don't come back to no resistance. Stay in a little bit of resistance. All right, so lifting up the chest. Let's work away on a set of 12. That's halfway. You can really start to feel those hip flexors and abductors and adductors. Everything is working here. Core is engaged. Good, 2 more. Excellent. Bring it down, wiggle it out. Things tend to tighten up, so you want to get into some really good stretches after these. And so the next part of this exercise, we're going to turn ourselves, I think probably it's best if I go this way so you can see what's happening. I'm going to come to sit in the middle of my chair. I'm going to take my outside hand behind me for support. My inside hand is going to come onto the chair, again with a long spine, lifting everything up. This engages and activates core muscles, so you want everything paying attention while you're going through these workouts. So lifting up the knees, I'm going to have you flex your feet this time, and we're going to extend and pull. You want to hold your legs wide enough apart to create a resistance on the band. And out, in. Good, last one. All right, those are tough. Those are tough. So what I would do is 2 sets. So I would have the bands on out front, and when you are pulling your knees apart, all right, it is not your whole, like you want your heels under your knees. So when I pull, I'm going to pull the whole thing open, not just here. All right, you want to maintain the integrity of the joints and work it from there. All right, so 12 pulls, 12 extensions, come back to the front, 12 pulls, and then turn the other way. It is essentially the same move, except the placement of our arms changes the dynamics of the muscles that are working. So you want to go in both directions, all right? So 12 to the front, 12 to the side, 12 to the front, 12 to the other side. All right, so If you're able to get yourself down onto the floor, these next exercises, and have you bring your chair all the way to the end of your mat. Bring yourself all the way down. Again here, for safety, especially if you're planning to do these in the kitchen, put a mat under your chair or do something so that that chair can't slide away, okay? You want to make sure that you've got that chair secure and stable. So we're going to bring ourselves down onto our backs. And our heels are coming up onto this edge of our chair seat. Now, once I get my heels in place and my knees are bent, I want to think about having my knees directly over my hips here. I'm going to flex my feet. We've got a fly in the studio again. Where's Cersei when you need her? So when I flex my feet, I take the back of my legs and I activate them, I work them, I wake them up. It's like time to work, all right? So knees are under our hips, and you want to make sure and maintain that integrity, all right? So heels are flexed, hands are going to come palms down, and I want you to think about rolling the shoulders down your back and gripping the floor. So to start, we're going to engage the core. So pull everything in, your lower back is going to squeeze down to the mat, and we're going to pull up in that bridge and release. Up. So again, we'll work away on reps of 12 here. If the chair is a little hard on the backs of your ankles, you can go ahead and put a cushion on. So you want to make sure you've got a nice flat back. Lift and squeeze those hips up. Squeeze the glute in at the top. As you come down, release everything. Squeeze, release. Good. Let's go for 3 more. Excellent. I'm going to have you take your legs down to the floor. We're going to flex our feet. We are straddled around our chair. I'm going to have you bring your hands behind your head, and we're going to lift and release. Really squeeze down deep into those core muscles. Keep the elbows nice and wide. Good, 2 more. Pressing your head back into your hands. So you're not just tugging your chin into your chest. Your head is actually pressing back into your hands. All right, so 12 of those. Then I'm going to have you scoot your bottom a little closer to your chair so that your entire calf is resting on the chair, depending on the length of your chair. Mine are a little short in the seat for that. But again, knees over the hips, all right? So wherever that takes you on your chair, we're going to take our hands behind our head. And these, I like to call them barrel roll crunches. And they are coming into 2 things. Working the obliques, but they're also working the transfers. So it's a movement that requires your obliques to switch into your core, to switch into your obliques, to switch into your back muscles. So it's kind of a chain reaction that has to happen in order for you to make this movement. We're going to do 6 in each direction, and this will be our last exercise. So think about engaging your core. That lower back is pressing down onto the mat. Our calves are resting into the seat of our chair. We're going to lift head, neck, and shoulders up. And I'm going to have you bring yourself over to your left side. So you're going to lift up to your left, roll to the center, down on the right. Lift and roll. And you can feel all those different muscle groups waking each other up. It's like your turn, you get her. Good, and then we'll switch for 6 the other way. So we're coming up on the right and around, down on the left. Excellent. Last one. Awesome. All right. Catch behind the thighs and roll yourself up. So, whether you have to sit in the chair or whether you can get down on the floor, there's always, always more core. So, up top, 2 sets out front, 1 set in each direction. Down on the bottom, those hip raises or bridge lifts from an elevated, I would go to 12. Then I would do 12 of the wide leg straight up crunches. And I did 6 on each side for the purpose of this video, but you could do a whole 12 one way and then a whole 12 the other way, which is probably a better option. I was trying to keep the video short. And I would go ahead and do at least 2, hopefully somewhere between 3 and 5. When your core can't take any more, do 1 more and call it a day. But never miss a Monday. See you next week.